Kul huwallahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid walam yulad, walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Sadaqallahu azim. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. May I extend to you a very warm welcome to the launch of Sanober Institute, a new think tank in Islamabad. You might be wondering, what is Sanober Institute? Why is it called that way? Tawqir sir, shukriya sir. And how? I think we will discuss all these aspects very shortly. There is a brochure before you which has some basic details. You can also visit our site, sanoberinstitute.com, and get more details. This is an independent institute, non-partisan, not affiliated to any political party or ideological movement. We, the gentlemen sitting in front of you, are the 4 founding directors of this institute. It's a self-funded institute, and we are registering it with the Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan, SECP. I want to introduce my colleagues to you. Admiral Khan Hasham bin Siddiq has been in Pakistan Navy and rose to the rank of Vice Chief of Naval Staff. Thereafter, he went as Ambassador of Pakistan to Saudi Arabia. He also served as a head of a think tank, IPRI, for a while, and then lately he has been the Managing Director of Bahriya Foundation. Our other colleague, Mr. Khalid Bashir, he is an engineer, an entrepreneur. He runs a very successful company, and he has been a member of Pakistan Engineering Council and has contributed to the standardizations of engineering standards. And we're very happy that we'll have a corporate side represented on this board of directors. Then on my right is Dr. Kamar Chima, who worked for a while in Namal University, but now he's focusing his energies on vlogs. And in fact, he's a very, very popular vlogger. If you sign up to his name, within the YouTube alone, he has 139 subscribers. And he's always on top of information, and whatever he publishes in the digital media is a good source of information for all. Let me also recognize you all for coming over. There are 2 parts of this session. First, we'll introduce to you what Sanober Institute is. Then we'll talk about the role of think tanks. So most of you are associated in one way or the other with the think tank community. I want to recognize our guest of honor, Mumtaz Zohra Baloch, Ambassador, who is currently serving as a spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Thank you so much for coming. We are also grateful to you, Ambassador Nagmana, for being with us. We are also happy to have a number of other colleagues, Ambassador Kiani, Janab Masood Khalid Saab, our longest serving ambassador to China. And then we have Naim Salik Saab, he's heading Strategic Vision Institute. Ambassador Rizwan, he is the Secretary General of ICWA. For those of you who don't know ICWA, it's Islamabad Council for World Affairs. And on his right is the chairman of ICWA as well as ISSI, an institute where I also happen to serve. And I was predecessor of Ambassador Suhail Mahmood, who is there now and doing a good job. And then we have Ambassador Abrar Hussain. He is the vice chairman of Institute of Policy Studies. And then we have Saif Malik Saab. He is now with the Army Institute of Military History, but before that he was with me in ISSI And you all know Aqil Nadeem. He was a prolific writer for independent Urdu, right? But he's not writing anymore, and we are encouraging him to do that. Ali Tawqir Sheikh, a big name. He writes regularly for Dawn newspapers, a great environmentalist, climate change, water issues, all the things that touch Pakistan's life. Malik Qasim, arms control expert in ISSI, Nakash, a great helping hand. Dr. Talat Shabir, our China expert in China-Pakistan Study Center. Amina Khan, expert on Afghan affairs, heading the Kemia Center within the ISSI. And Air Commodore Adil Sultan, Dr. Adil Sultan, I would say, Dean in the Air University. Brigadier Faisal from the Intelligence Institute. And then Air Marshal Arai Saab, Ishfaq Arai, he's representing CAS. You're still with CAS, right? Air Forces Institute. Khurshid Anwar Saab is an entrepreneur, and he traveled especially from Lahore for this very session, and we are really grateful to him, a great entrepreneur. Then we have Mr. Imran Khalid Saab from WWF. Tawqir Saab is a strategic analyst and security analyst, but also a pilot and many other things. He's been associated with the think tank community. Raza, thank you. Good to have you. Everybody knows you. You need no introduction. And Admiral Saab, thank you very much. Ahmed Saeed Saab, he's heading NEMA these days. So we are very grateful to you for coming over. Let me indicate to you the what and why part. The Sanober Institute, as I indicated to you, is a voice in the private sector. Many of the think tanks in Pakistan are affiliated with the government, some with the donor community, the others are in the universities. But this will be a purely private sector think tank raising independent voice from civil society, from corporate Pakistan, and also Pakistani diaspora. There are 4 areas we want to work on: geopolitics, geoeconomics, governance, and environment. Let me also set the context, the global context. आप सब ने देखा होगा कि दुनिया में एक यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ पेंसिल्वेनिया का इदारा है जो ग्लोबल गो टू थिंक टैंक रिपोर्ट्स शाया करता है हर साल, और उन्होंने ये एस्टिमेट किया है कि 11,000 से ज़्यादा थिंक टैंक्स पाकिस्तान दुनिया भर में हैं, एंड more than half of which are in North America and Europe. Asia maybe, the trend is catching up, and you now see many think tanks emerging in China, India, Japan, South Korea. And in Pakistan also you must have seen a rapid rise in the number of think tanks, mostly in Islamabad, but also in many universities of Pakistan. The inspiration that we get for choosing this particular name and the mission comes from none other than our national poet अल्लामा इकबाल. अल्लामा इकबाल को सनोबर का जो दरख्त है वो बहुत भाता था. वो कहते थे ये वो दरख्त है जो जैसे भी उगे और सीधा होके ये ऊपर जाता है. It seeks light while its roots are firmly embedded in the soil. तो वो कहते हैं कि सनोबर बाग में आज़ाद भी है, पाबा गिल भी है, उसके पाँव मिट्टी में हैं, इन्हीं पाबंदियों में हासिल आज़ादी को तू कर ले. ये तो ब्रिटिश टाइम में उन्होंने अपने लोगों को ये मशवरा दिया था. मैं समझता हूँ दिस ऑल्सो रिफ्लेक्ट्स द फिलोसफी दैट वी इन द सनोबर इंस्टीट्यूट वांट टू फॉलो. वी थिंक दैट आवर वर्क शुड बी क्रिएटिव, आउट ऑफ बॉक्स, बट इन सिंक विद द ग्राउंड रियलिटीज़. हम उससे कोई बाहर जाके नहीं करना चाहते. वी वांट टू प्रपोज सॉल्यूशंस, doable, tangible solutions, लेकिन हम उस दायरे के अंदर रहना चाहते हैं ताकि पाकिस्तान के लिए हम एक कोई आवाज़ ज़रूर उठाएं। आवाज़ की अहमियत पर मैं फिर बात करूंगा, लेकिन एक जो अक्सर कहा जाता है यहाँ पे कि थिंक टैंक्स की अच्छा चले एक और आ गया, क्या हुआ, क्या मिलेगा। जो गवर्नमेंट के लोग हैं वो तो फायर फाइटिंग में मसरूफ़ हैं या अपने इतने मसाइल में उलझे हुए हैं कि उनको आप बोल भी लें तो क्या फ़र्क पड़ता है। तो मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि हमारी फ़िलॉसफ़ी उस हक़ाइक़ से मंसूब है जो आपने सुनी होगी कि एक जंगल में आग लगी तो एक चिड़िया अपनी छोटी सी चोंच में थोड़ा सा पानी लेकर जा रही थी, तो बंदर ने उसको कहा कि आपका ये पानी तो आग नहीं बुझा सकता। तो उसने कहा कि नहीं, मुझे भी इस बात का पता है, लेकिन मैं उनमें शामिल होना चाहती हूँ जो आग बुझाने वाले हैं। तो थिंक टैंक्स का भी काम ये है, ये नहीं कि आपने कोई मिरेकलस सॉल्यूशन दे देना और एकदम से बागो बहार हो जाएगा, लेकिन हमने अपने आइडियाज़ जो हैं वो देने हैं, अपनी आवाज़ हमें उठानी है। जो दूसरा अभी हमारा सेशन आएगा उसके अंदर हम ये फ्लोर खोलेंगे कि थिंक टैंक्स क्या किरदार अदा कर सकते हैं और किस तरह अपने वतन अजीज़ की खिदमत कर सकते हैं। मैं इस वक्त चाहूँगा कि अपने साथियों को कहूँ कि वो भी अपने कुछ ख़यालात आपके साथ शेयर करें, देन विल स्टार्ट दी सेकंड सेशन। पहले एडमिरल खान हशाम साहब।
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Let me also thank the audience, and I find myself shortchanged as far as the ideas or the scholarly discourse is concerned. All of you guys, ladies and gentlemen, are far more experienced. So it's a great pleasure to start a think tank with my dear friend whom I've known for over 50 years now. For those of you who don't know, we are Sargodians, and there's one more Sargodian, Khurshid, sitting here. So we come from the same batch of 21st century, and our representative is also Hassan Iqbal. But that aside, if I had listened to my wife, she had been constantly asking me to take retirement from the Navy since I was a Lieutenant Commander. ये क्या कर रहे हैं आप, वापस आ जाएं, वापस आ जाएं. But 30-40 years down the line, she says कि okay. So my idea of this joining Sanober Institute was that for all these years, the government has invested in me. I've gone through the mill as a diplomat as well, mostly acting as a non-diplomat, but a brief foray into the diplomatic world. So the government has invested. I have sort of worked hard to get to where I am. So should I just switch off one day? So whatever little we or I know, we want to give it back to the society for whatever it's worth, and whether it makes people do something, it doesn't matter. So I've already headed a think tank called Islamabad Policy Research Institute. So I would tell my people that आप 100 चीज़ें करें, उसमें से आधी चीज़ भी किसी के कान में गुजर जाए तो कोई बात नहीं. We've done our job. And let's face it, the narrative, the Pakistani narrative in the global context or even in the regional context is abysmally low. आपने कारगिल के बारे में कोई बात देखनी है तो just Google hundreds of Indian writers. हमारे 2, 3, 4, 5. So there is room for pushing such agenda which इसका इफ़ेक्ट जो है इंटेंजिबल है. यू डोंट रियलाइज़ कि ये काम जो है कितना ज़रूरी है और इसका इम्पैक्ट कोई ना डॉलर्स में नज़र आता है ना उसमें नज़र आता है. बट बिलीव मी, इफ़ वी कंटिन्यू टू पुट आउट आवर नैरेटिव्स, shape, help the government shape policies which are in the best interest of our nation, वो कुछ ना कुछ उसका इम्पैक्ट होता है, तो कोई ना कहीं जो है रजिस्टर हो जाती है. So that was the motivation which I had with respect to launching this Sanober Institute. The other thing which I think is that you have scholars who do research, and then you have practitioners who are not conversant with the educational or scholarly trends, or they are not suitably qualified. So it is very difficult to find people who are actually practitioners and also have studied a bit. जैसे आदिल बैठे हुए हैं, Air Force में थे, but so when he looks at things, he has perspective about issues, and issues of his relevance, whether they are security or एयर पावर के बारे में. एंड जैसे अशफाक राई इधर बैठे हुए हैं, तो इट इज़ वेरी इम्पॉर्टेंट कि आप सॉल्यूशंस वो पेश करें जो कि इम्प्लीमेंटेबल हों. हवा में जो बातें हैं वो चल नहीं सकती. The last but not the least is obviously we are living in an age where there is a massive volatility, not only within our region but globally. As the center of gravity, as they say, shifts to Asia Pacific, where the future, as they say, the future destiny of the world will be decided, and the space over there is inherently maritime, as Robert Kaplan says in his book. So it is hugely important that while Pakistan remains focused on continental strategy or on land-related issues, there is a huge void which the National Institute of Maritime Affairs under Ahmed Said is trying to bridge. So I think वो वाला area है जो कि अभी क्या कहते हैं, there is room to do research and put out our narrative. Regionally, you are better informed than I am. The region is under transformation, whether it is the Gulf or Afghanistan or Central Asia. तो ये जो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हो रही है, ग्लोबल और रीजनल हो रही है, if Pakistan does not get its act together, we will be left out. If we have not already been left out, तो आप इस खित्ते से अगर इंटीग्रेशन नहीं करेंगे, इकोनॉमिक इंटीग्रेशन नहीं करेंगे, तो we will be left out. तो इसलिए ज़रूरी है कि जो लोग सोच सकते हैं या जो लोग राय रखते हैं, तो वो राय का इजहार करें. आखिरी चीज़ ऑब्वियसली पाकिस्तान की इंटरनल सिचुएशन है, गवर्नेंस है. माय व्यू इज़ दैट the state's apparatus to govern, whether it is, say, petroleum policy or energy policy or security and what have you, has seriously eroded. तो इसलिए ज़रूरी है कि आप कुछ tangible recommendations दें ताकि जो आगे हमें जो है solutions दें, ताकि जो problems हम face कर रहे हैं उसको हम आगे ले जा सकें. I mean, the state of governance is such that it bleeds my heart कि Pakistan in sports, medals table in Asian Games, for those of you who don't know, we are below Afghanistan. Below Afghanistan. So much for our ability of sports and तो ये ज़रूरी है कि ये मुल्क हमारा है और हम ही ने इसको जो है क्या कहते हैं, इसके जो मुश्किलात हैं उसमें से निकालना है और अपनी जो भी हम्बल कंट्रीब्यूशन होगी हमारी इंस्टीट्यूट पे और अदरवाइज एज वेल. नाउ दैट आई एम फ्री फ्रॉम माय जॉब एज एमडी बैरियर फाउंडेशन, आई विल बी हैप्पी टू गो एंड मूव अराउंड wherever I can. So with those few words, it's an absolute pleasure to have you and sort of reconnect with I wouldn't call you the usual suspect, but it is great to reconnect and hopefully
Familiar.
with familiar.
Familiar scene.
Chale. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. May I welcome Dr. Raza, and also I just saw Shafqat Jalil Saab. He is former Secretary Information. We are very happy, both of you, to have come. May I now invite Engineer Khalid Bashir Saab to also share his thoughts.
Assalamu alaikum. I am Engineer Khalid Bashir. So I am part of this Sanober Institute, the think tank. Normally business community is not involved in such think tanks or such places where people think. So this is, to me, I think it's the first time that some think tank invited us, the entrepreneurs and from corporate sector. The major issue in our opinion is the wealth. There is no business, not just now, for the last many years, last maybe 70 years, बिजनेस डेवलपमेंट के ऊपर कभी तवज्जो नहीं दी गई. और उसमें सबसे ज़्यादा बड़ी बात यह है कि फॉर डेवलपमेंट ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग बिजनेस और इंजीनियरिंग इंडस्ट्री में कोई तवज्जो नहीं दी गई, विच इज़ बेसिकली वेल्थ जनरेटिंग इंडस्ट्री. तो उसके लिए जब मुझे कहा गया तो मैं इसमें शामिल हुआ थिंक टैंक में कि हम लोगों को ये भी सोचना चाहिए कि जी हाउ टू इंक्रीज़ द वेल्थ, नेशनल वेल्थ. 1970s में, मिड 70s में भुट्टो साहब के ज़माने में एक हेट्रेड क्रिएट कर दिया गया वेल्थ के साथ और वेल्थी पीपल के साथ, जिसकी वजह से वहाँ एक बहुत बड़ा डिप आया और वो डिप जो है अभी तक कवर नहीं हो पाया. तो इसलिए ये ज़रूरी है कि जी हम इस पार्ट में इस चीज़ को भी देखें कि जी जो इंडस्ट्रियल डेवलपमेंट है, जो कि बैकबोन है, और इंजीनियरिंग इंडस्ट्री ख़ास तौर पे बैकबोन है इसकी डेवलपमेंट की, तो उसमें हम क्यों ना ज़्यादा तवज्जो दें. हम लोग ये सारी चीज़ें करते हैं, एक कंटेनर भर के कपड़े का या किसी चीज़ का भेजते हैं जो कि 25-30 लाख रुपए का होता है, और बाहर से वही कंटेनर जो है वो किसी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स का भेज देते हैं इधर, जो कि हमें मिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर्स में पड़ता है. सो हम लोग इस ग्रुप के अंदर ये भी कोशिश करेंगे कि हाउ टू डेवलप, हाउ टू मेक पीपल रियलाइज़, how to make government realize that we should work on this as well. Besides all the time we give on the TV, the prime time to the political affairs and all these affairs जो कि नफ़रत क्रिएट करते हैं, उसकी बजाय जैसे इंटरनेशनली ये मेजर टाइम ये है, ये दिया जाता है या एंटरटेनमेंट को या डेवलपमेंट को. आप कभी बाहर जाएँ तो आप ख़बरें देखेंगे तो दे विल बी ऑलवेज कि जी मर्जर्स की बात हो रही है, डेवलपमेंट की बात हो रही है, पैसे की बात हो रही है, इंजीनियरिंग डेवलपमेंट्स की बात हो रही है, पॉलिटिक्स जो है वो पता नहीं किस वक्त वहाँ पर डिस्कस होती है. पर विल ट्राई कि जी हम इस फील्ड के अंदर भी हमारा जो ये ग्रुप है, थिंक टैंक है, इसके ऊपर भी सोचे, लोगों को इकट्ठा करें और इसके ऊपर भी करें कि जी इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट को भी और बिज़नेस कम्युनिटी को भी कि वो इंजीनियरिंग मैटर्स के ऊपर तवज्जो दें और गवर्नमेंट भी ताकि इसके अंदर डेवलपमेंट कर सके. So this is my part of job in this group, which I am explaining. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Khalid sir. Thank you. Now, Dr. Kamar Chima, he is the executive director of this institute. We three will, for the time being, I am chairman, but in an egalitarian spirit, we'll be rotating the chairmanship because we believe that we all have something to contribute. So over to you, Dr. Kamachi.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon. It's a privilege to start this journey of intellectual innovation at the Sanober Institute as Executive Director. I want to thank you all who came to encourage us and be part of this initiative. I'm grateful to join thinkers and visionaries who have earned respect in their work and contributed to the growth of this country with their work, decisions, and commitment to the nation. I want to thank particularly to Ambassador Azaz Ahmed Chaur Sahab for leading this initiative and bringing together all professionals at this institute. In last few months, commitment and motivation which I have seen you in fact, has encouraged all of us indeed. I also want to thank Vice Admiral Han Hasham Sahib and Khalid Bashir Sahib for being part of this organization and paying back to community and sharing your valuable experiences after years of hard work. I have taught for almost 14 years in National University of Modern Languages at the Department of International Relations, Islamabad, and I believe I have brought some experience that can be helpful in this institution. We look forward to stimulating academic conversations. We will work for cutting-edge research with academics and practitioners for well-informed dialogue. Deep knowledge of subject experts can help Sanober Institute find innovative solutions for Pakistan's pressing challenges. Academics will be backbone as peer reviewers for quality publications and can run workshops and training sessions for youth. They can help with long-term and in-depth research which we can share with our society and state. This is the age of digital media, and this institution, we believe, it can help us to raise our voice with a broader and bigger audience so that we can make our impact and generate discourse which is beneficial for our people. Sanober Institute, with the support of academics and digital media, will go for global collaborations, particularly with think tanks and researchers for exchanging knowledge. We believe digital platforms of think tanks need to provide real-time updates on events, particularly in this age of fake news and disinformation. Pakistan has 65% youth. Not all of them are literate, but we want to stay connected and desire feedback for this think tank to address the concerns of our community. Sanober Institute would urge two-way communication to empower our people and build our credibility. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kama Chima.